I am confident that I have never, I can't remember a time. Maybe you have, maybe you can recall a time, seen a half an hour of action in the stock market like I've just witnessed. If I was back in my day trading days, I think I would have made money in the last half hour. I'm not sure, but because you never know on a day like today, gyrating all over the place. Nvidia seemingly leading the way, and other maybe programmatic selling, or programmatic, I guess you would call it selling, impacting the entire market up and down in massive swings. Tesla has been up 5 and down 1 or 2, and then back up again, positive 3. I mean, crazy, crazy market. Anyway, so that's how it's all started out this morning. Elon Musk is on the cover of Time magazine. While that's not nearly as important as it might have been even 10 years ago, and certainly not as important as it would have been, say, 30 years ago, it's still, it's not nothing. And the cover lists a bunch of his accomplishments with check marks next to them, and then other future aspirations like flying to Mars is not yet checked. And then it asks the question, what's next on Elon Musk's to-do list? Now, I haven't read the article yet. I'll probably take, later this morning. I'll try to do that. But Jeff Lutz notes that what was missing, at least on the cover, was solving autonomy, humanoid robots, and becoming the #1 Diablo 4 player in the world. Actually, he solved that one a day or two ago. If you didn't catch the news, he's now the #1 Diablo 4 player in the world. Yeah, best score ever. Anyway, all right. Elon Musk responds also to the Time magazine cover. He says, "I have not done any media. To be clear," he says, "I've not done any media interviews, and this is not actually my checklist. I am trying to make life multiplanetary to maximize the probable lifespan of consciousness. Some of the items below on the list are," when he says below, he means on the article, are on the front cover. "Some of those items are needed in order to accomplish that." Well, this, again, the stock market this week was supposed to be all about Nvidia. That was supposed to be, how things would go, is how Nvidia went, is how the market would go. And of course, Nvidia beat on all metrics. Okay, better than the expectations with regard to sales, with regard to earnings, and also with regard to guidance. Now, people have, parsed that and said, well, this or that or the other. The Blackwell, the new chip, apparently is doing great. Plenty of sales for the next 3 quarters. I mean, it's really hard to poke many holes in the Nvidia story right now. And the PE is not like it's off the charts in terms of, what one would expect for a company growing at this rate. Well, anyway, whatever is causing it, I'm just gonna take a little peek real quick to see if we're continuing to bounce all over. Yes, you see, in the 4 or 5 minutes since I started this, Tesla went from being about 0, about break even, to being up 3. It's just crazy. Nvidia now is down 90 cents again, been up as much as like $5, I think, at one point. So yeah, and Nvidia only sells, for 150. So being up $5 is a bunch. Anyway, Tesla, now, some thoughts that might go into your head is that Tesla is hitting up against recent highs and maybe having a hard time breaking through. And Nvidia is trying to burst through all-time highs and be worth the most of any company ever at $3.5 trillion or something. But what's going on with the rest of the market in all of this craziness? Well, all right, let's go on to some of the rest of the news. We have a significant shift, according to AJ, taking place in the AI world, and AJ was kind enough to put the shift into understandable English. This is based on the NVIDIA call last night. He says, "We are used to splitting the global AI compute demand into training and inference." I'm sure, even if you guys are only slightly on the edge of thinking about these big computer things, as I am, quite frankly, we kind of all understands right now what it is to, put the data in and then do a bunch of computations around it and then use that data in order to make something happen. Inference. Okay. The training, of course, is the creation of all the AI models. and inference, the running and application of all those AI models. Well, it turns out is that we're reaching the limits of available data. And there's only all the books in the world that you can put in to the available data. There's only all the internet transactions in a single day, everything that happens on Twitter in a single day. I mean, there's limits to the data. And the problem is, as they get these models bigger and bigger, they run out of data. So there needs to be other venues for improving AI model performance. And one of those growing venues is what's called post-training. It refers to training models on themselves. He says, so if you're training a model by playing a game, you can make it better by letting it play against itself. Now, this has been done for 30, 40 years. If I understand it right, they've been using the method of having a computer play against itself, like with chess or with other games, playing against itself in order to get better and better. And it says this post-training bucket also includes synthetic training data generation. We've been hearing about that a lot in the Tesla world as they create synthetic environments for the cars to drive through synthetically. This has been around for a while, but it's gaining importance. For these reasons, people like Jensen are starting to break training down into two buckets: pre-training and post-training. So the new view is training is the training creation of all models. Post-training is model on model and synthetic data. And then inference is running and applying the data. Anyway, he says, I tried to keep it simple and not go into the technical minutiae. Now, many of you might have been going into that technical minutiae. I've been trying. With my pea brain, I've been trying to stay up. Okay. And that's good. I like the simple way that he just explained that. This is from Rains 1220 this morning. You know that Rains is very, very actively involved in trying to keep up with what's really happening with FSD by creating some models. All right. And he says his latest model is he's analyzed all the perfect drive videos from whole Mars. So he's taken all those videos and then he's modeled them and analyzed them. He says, I searched for titles with raw and zero interventions, finding 71 videos from October of 2023 to November of 2024. He charted the monthly best perfect drives, showing FSD is now improving at least 10 times for Omar during that period. To clarify, my approach removes Omar's bias. It doesn't matter whether it doesn't affect his analysis, whether Omar thought it was better or not. The data shows his perfect drives are 10 times better. Oh, not since the beginning of this, but actually since the beginning of this past year. Better over the past year. Okay, which is almost, we're almost at the end of this year. So since November of last year, it's 10 times better. Now, we would expect 100 times better, but again, this is perfect drives. So Rains goes on. He says, in my experience, all 12.5.x builds share similar smoothness. The true magic only reveals itself whenever something dangerous happens. While previous versions would panic, hesitate, or act recklessly in such situations, this version pulls off some weirdly smart moves to magically bail itself out. This comes in from the Humanoid Hub this morning. Tesla is developing remote access and control capabilities for Optimus and Robotaxi, said Randy 4 months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago. A recent job listing indicates that Tesla's AI teleportation team is building back-end software to enable remote access to both robotaxis and Optimus. Our cars and robots operate autonomously in challenging environments. That's the norm. I added the as and as we iterate on the AI that powers them, we need the ability to access and control them remotely, said Randy months and months ago. This requires building highly optimized, low latency, reliable data streaming over unreliable networks in the real world. So you need to be able to communicate with the car, or you need to be able to communicate with the Optimus remotely and be able to operate the item, the Optimus or the Robotaxi. You need to be able to operate them remotely as well as communicate with them remotely over inefficient, systems, just the normal Wi-Fi, etc. So they're hiring for that position. Thank you very much. I'll take my bow now. Anyway, if you missed this yesterday, Sawyer Merritt says the FAA has indicated that it will grant SpaceX permission to increase the number of Starship launches at Starbase to 25 per year from the current 5, and allow them to continue increasing the size and power of the Super Heavy booster and the Starship upper stage without interference. I added the without interference. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe it pays to have friends in high places. I don't know how, what's changed in the last 2.5 weeks that might cause the FAA to act this way. Anyway, this is Ray Kirk. Please hit like if you like the fact that I give you some futuristic explanations or some analysis that turns out to be true, because every once in a while I get it right. If you like that, then hit like. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe. Notify later today. Of course, we have Cern Basher. He and I have just talked, and so that show is on. And as usual, I expect it'll be Bradford Ferguson tonight. I got another order. Yep, another order came in for 4 more Cybertrucks last night. So order your Cybertruck now. Get the order in now. I've got a big order coming in from the factory, so I'll have plenty of them. But don't wait. Okay, get the Cybertruck now. All right, from Jim Cramer. I don't quote Jim very often because those in the Tesla community tend to think that Jim Cramer is wrong more often than I am. But anyway, Jim's got a pretty successful program that's been around for many, many, many years, and he's also way wealthier than I am. So I guess we could quote him. Early morning shorts, who sought to paint the tape negative for Nvidia, now up against 7 big price target raises already this morning. I saw a couple of them, from the price target was 150, now 200. Remember, the whole missed guidance story is a total canard. I spent a long time with management last night to understand this issue. It is bogus. Nothing is missing. There are no overheating computers, chips. I mean, it's all nuts. Okay, so that's, but it still doesn't explain what's going on with the market this morning. All right, so the information that's out this morning that could be impacting the market, but I doubt it because it seemed like it's all NVIDIA based. Weekly jobless claims dropped 6,000 to 213,000. Continuing claims increase 36,000. Wow, okay, that's a mixed bag. So the number of Americans filing new applications for unemployment benefits fell to a 7-month low last week, suggesting that job growth likely rebounded in November after abruptly slowing last month among the hurricanes and strikes. So it could be some kind of okay. It is, however, taking longer for the unemployed to find new work. That's important. This is the thing I pay the most attention to. The report from the Labor Department on Thursday also showed unemployment rolls swelling to levels last seen in late 2021. Labor market slack keeps the door open for this will keep things open for the Fed to drop their quarter point. That's what they're saying here. There is no sign of an incipient recession in these figures, said Carl Weinberg, chief economist. The labor market is softening, but not imploding. Initial claims for state unemployment benefits dropped 6,000 to a seasonally adjusted 213,000 for the week ended November 16th. The data included the Veterans Day holiday, which could have injected some volatility. Unadjusted claims decreased 17,750. So that's unadjusted. Filings in California dropped 4,657. What's happening in California? All right, so that seems like pretty good news, except for that part about taking longer to get a job once you're unemployed. That's very important to watch. All right, this is from Market Watch this morning. The Philadelphia Fed said Thursday that its gauge of regional business activity stumbled to a negative 5.5 in November. It was at 10.3 last month. Any reading below 0 indicates deteriorating conditions. So the Philadelphia Fed has had really good numbers for a bunch of months in a row, but then all of a sudden now it's got a negative number. Economists polled by the Wall Street Journal expected an 8.2 reading, but got a negative 5.5. This is the second negative reading of the year for the Philadelphia Fed, which, as I mentioned, has been doing pretty well. The barometer of new orders fell 5.3 points, but remained a positive 8.9. Shipments index dropped 2.9. The measure on a 6-month basis outlook jumped 19 points to 56. The big picture, manufacturing has been soft for 2 years, given the higher interest rates and low demand in particular, of course, for the bigger items. The national ISM factory index has been in contraction territory for 23 of the past 24 months. The index slipped to 46.5 in October from 47.2 in the prior month. Economists watch the regional Fed factory gauges for signs of potential turning points. The Empire State Index, a similar measure of factory activity in New York State, showed business activity grew in November, although the New York area had shown lousy all year. So this could really be about regional stuff. But overall, as we know, it has not been that great. Well, on the other hand, we've got home sales. Home sales climbed in October by 3.4% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 3.96 million homes. Sales advanced 2.9 from 1 year ago. That's 3.4% month over month, 2.9% year over year. And this is the first year over year increase in more than 3 years. The median existing home sales price ascended 4%. They needed their thesaurus to go, or their to go find another word. Ascended 4% from October to 407,000, the 16th consecutive month of year-over-year price increase. The inventory of unsold existing homes edged higher. Oh, so more people putting their car. Well, people tend to put their homes on. No, wait, never mind. October is usually slow, okay? But anyway, the inventory is up, even though sales were up. Then finally, this breaking. The Conference Board leading economic indicator index, which nobody pays any attention to anymore, declined by 0.4% in October to 99.5, with 2016 being 100, following a 0.3% decline in September. Over the last 6-month period between April and October, the LEI fell by 2.2%, slightly more than its 2% decline over the previous 6 months. So it's just declining and declining and declining, but there's no recession. The largest negative contributor to LEI's decline came from manufacturing new orders, which remain weak in 11 out of 14 industries, according to 𝐓𝐡𝐮𝐲 I remember that name from previous months. In October, manufacturing hours worked fell by the most since December of 2023, while unemployment insurance claims rose, building permits declined, partially reflecting the impact of hurricanes. Apart from possible temporary impact of hurricanes, the U.S. LEI continued to suggest challenges to economic activity ahead. So the LEI has been predicting this recession now for about 3 years, but it never comes. The Conference Board Coincident Economic Index for the U.S. was unchanged for a second month in a row at 112.8. This index increased by 0.8% in the 6-month period. So the coincidence, so what's happening in the real world on a month-to-month basis is doing better than the projections made by their survey. All right, Elon Musk. Let's end with a comment from Elon Musk. He says, karma is real. And this he's talking about a post on X from NVDA. It says, breaking, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's assistant was robbed. He was attacked by an illegal immigrant with 5 arrests since 2023. He's a Venezuelan TDA gang member, and he's staying in a hotel paid for by taxpayers. It doesn't get any better than that. Okay, let's see where things are now. So in the 10 minutes since we last looked at Tesla, it's gone from up, what was it, up $3 or something? It's now down almost $5. Yeah, I can't make this stuff up. Nvidia is now down almost $5. Nvidia's down almost $5, $4.51. The market, you've got the Dow is up 38. The NASDAQ is down 234. It was actually up at one point this morning, 245 in that 1 second. It's gone from 234 to 245 negative. S&P down 28. The rest of the Magnificent Seven all just crashing today. Tesla 448 down. Apple down 3, Google down 10, Amazon down 4, Meta down 13, Microsoft down 3. Magnificent Seven mostly down. Actually, a couple of exceptions. Square is okay, but the rest of them are pretty much down. Yeah, so what's going on? So it seems like maybe folks, I don't know, because it could be back up by the. We'll go around again and we'll check everything else. We'll come back and maybe all of this will be in the green in 3 minutes. Anyway, let's take a look here at the percentages because some of you like that. 0.06 up for the Dow Jones, 1.32 down for the NASDAQ, S&P down 0.5, and Tesla down 1.24. So even though it's down, it's only down about the same as the NASDAQ, which normally it would be down double. So it's actually outperforming right now with regard to that. So anyway, wow, what a crazy morning. By the way, that those percentages, just for fun, because this is a crazy morning. Apple down 1.31, Google down 5.72, Amazon down 2, Meta down 2.5, Microsoft down almost 1, and Nvidia down almost 3% after beating across the board and being up about $5 earlier this morning. Yeah, okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at the bonds. So what are the bonds doing this morning? Well, at least they are not crazy. The bonds are down to the 10-year is down 0.2 of a basis point, 4.386. That's I like to see that. The 2-year is down 0.4 of a basis point, so not as big a move. The 3-month, the 2-month, for some reason, the reporting right now is messed up on my system. Is it messed up on yours? Let me know in the comments below. If you go to your bond reporting, is it in the wrong order? I think I may have messed up my settings. Anyway, so I can't see the 2-month or the 3-month right now. Sorry, I can't report that. Okay, let's go ahead to the oil market. We've got oil. We have oil at up another buck. So, but still, Texas Intermediate staying under 70. That's kind of a benchmark for crude. It says it's up on Russia-Ukraine missile exchange. Okay, up a buck. Brent, same, up a buck, 73.85. Natural gas up. Okay. What a morning. It's, yeah, what a morning. Natural gas is up 7.45%. How come I didn't buy natural gas this morning? At $3.43. Check that out. Okay, go. I have to look. I got to look that up later. I'll do something with that with Jeff Lutz tonight. We have to know what's going on with natural gas. Gold up 16 at 2,668. It's been up consistently the last couple of days, but silver for some reason and copper taking up powder. Silver down 0.34% and copper down 0.4%. And the dollar is basically yeah. Also, we lost everything here. The dollar. Oh, here we go. The dollar pulls ahead. It says crypto. All right, Bitcoin up 1712 so far today, sitting at 96,100. Of course, that is near the all-time high, but I think the all-time high now is at like 97. But you know, who's counting anymore? It's really all about the 100,000, whether it gets through that or not. So very, very interesting times we're living in. And this is by far one of the most interesting days on the market I've ever seen. So as we come back here, we can see that Tesla is now only down 1% instead of 1.5% a few seconds ago. You've got Nvidia down 2.59%, although it is directionally going positive. And the overall NASDAQ is directionally slightly positive right now. Anyway, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you might find it kind of fun to watch the rest of morning. All right. So yesterday things were almost, oh yeah, yesterday, I put a Brian White video up late. So you might want to go take a look at that. That was one of those ones where we go around the world and we look at every one of the factories. Well, we didn't look at Fremont, I don't think. We looked at all the rest of the factories, including even Corpus Christi. Where are we? How are things going at all the factories? What is there that might be impacting our thinking about, Tesla's execution on the things that are just amazing right now? So I'll put that card up there. And then if you could join me later this morning, we've got Sarah Basher. Yeah. And then we've got Brad Ferguson. And then buy your Cybertruck bottle opener. Join Patreon if you like too. I don't mention it now. You guys ask me not to mention it so often. So I don't mention it, and then you still don't join. So help out the program, help out the channel. We'd love to have you joining Patreon, even if it's only at the $3 level. That $3 actually, it adds up. Okay. All right. That's all I got for you right now. It has been great.